fight, let's sing, let's dance, boys. And that was probably the worst impression ever, but nonetheless, it was for the reveal of Platinum Games' most famous gaming protagonist, Bayonetta. Standing at a large height and garnering a sexy outfit and renegade personality, this Umbra Witch flips the butterfly wings to all the female stereotypes as she hunts down the space pirates with their monstrous leader. Whoops! Wrong female badass. While another feminine staple resides in the vastness of the cosmos, Bayonetta warps between the likes of the heavens of Paradiso and the hellish Inferno. What appears in the crust of her character is the definition of male audience pandering. Fast-paced, overly flashy action with sexy shots at every corner. But as the mantle of the game is revealed, the origins behind these superb games emerge. Hidden within were various ingenious inspirations from multiple sources of mythology, pop culture, and beyond. But what exactly are these sources? What are the blueprints behind her design and development? Shall we find out? Let's answer one question. Who is Bayonetta? Bayonetta made her debut in the game of the same name back in October of 2009, just in time for the holiday of ghouls and ghosts and witches. More specifically, Umbra Witches. Umbra Witches were a clan of European dark art practitioners from ancient times. The word Umbra itself is Latin for shadow, and it is also the name of the darkest part of a shadow. In mythology, it's usually used in reference to the shadows cast by heavenly bodies. Well, Bayo herself has quite the spectacle of a shadow. They held a strong affinity to Inferno, darkness, and the moon, such as making pacts with demons to possess superhuman abilities. One of the abilities is the fighting technique bullet arts. The concept of Umbra Witches wielding firearms is historically significant. As they were first introduced in the West, the church did not approve of the usage of gunpowder as it was seen as some kind of black magic, and thus anyone who equipped it was seen as users of black magic. Common wielders of the magic in medieval mythology were sorcerers, wizards, and of course, witches. Bayonetta's ability to weave magic through her hair is a reference to an ancient European belief that women with long hair were more likely to be targeted by incubi, which later evolved into the idea that witches use their hair in magic. An incubus is a demon that lies upon women in order to engage in sexual activity with them. And of course, they have a strong preference for long hair women. Bayo's watch contains the numbers 14111-219, which writes out her date of birth. Her real name is Cereza, which is actually the Spanish word for cherry, the same flavor lollipop that Luca gave her. Seeing how Bayonetta was developed by Platinum Games, it's no surprise that the game is filled with references to Capcom games. FYI, Platinum Games was created by former developers of Clover Studios, a second-party development team once owned by Capcom. When fighting Lusticia, Bayonetta says, "Let's rock, baby," making a reference to Dante from the first Devil May Cry game. Prior to battling Fortitudo in Chapter 4 of the first game, Bayonetta says, "Flock off, Featherface," and during particular combos, she would simply say, "Flock off," nodding to Devil May Cry when Dante says the same thing to Giffen before fighting him. When surfing on a wave of lava, she says, "Dancing a go-go, baby," of course being an allusion to the transformation quote from Beautiful Joe, "Henshin a go-go, baby." The game Okami was also referenced a few times on the Bayonetta games. When in Beast Within form, a trail of black roses and skull-headed flowers are left wherever Bayonetta runs. In the first game, Bayonetta draws on Luca's face with lipstick. What she drew were an animal's mouth, whiskers, and a circle, which made him look just like Amaterasu. Bayonetta's ability to transform into a crow and a panther are similar to a concept in Okami that had Amaterasu transforming into a dolphin and a falcon. However, this never made it into the final game. Now to go from gaming references to real life ones. Bayonetta's long taunt in Bayonetta 2 and Super Smash Bros. 4, where she says "ask your mom," is a homage to one of Hideki Kamiya's most frequent Twitter response, that being "ask your mom." Her serious mode design was actually going to be her original one, but it was ultimately rejected because the hair would cloak the figure. And on the topic of serious mode, it came to be a thing because while playing through the game, the developers realized that she struggled to fight big bosses with her usual attacks. After Bayonetta draws the Amaterasu face on Luca, she calls him Cheshire, which is a reference to the cat from the 1865 novel by Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland. And on top of that, after she draws on the face, she says, "I've often seen a girl without lipstick, but lipstick without a girl? Most curious, isn't it, Cheshire?" The word curious is often used by Alice, most famously stating, young Cereza has a cat-looking ragdoll, whom she also calls Cheshire. One of the demons that Bayonetta summons in the game is Gomorrah. It is named after one of two cities that appeared in biblical text as cities wallowing in the sins of mankind. In Genesis 19, divine judgment was passed upon Gomorrah and its sister city Sodom, where they were swallowed by the wrath of God in the form of fire and brimstone that rained from the skies. Maybe that explains why it is an infernal demon, and why the atmosphere turns into a flaming red when present. Whenever somebody says that Bayonetta is just an overly sexualized slut, just remember this: more creativity was put into her design than the amount of activities they invented in their entire life. Or not, I don't know them personally,